So welcome back, everyone from Newark to Nigeria. Thank you so much for being with us, and thank you for the sponsors who are supporting this amazing Love Medicine Institute broadcast. And if you are interested in being a sponsor, go ahead and email us through the Kuumba Health page. And remember, Kuumba Health is Kuumba Health. And you can find that information there about being a sponsor. And you can also just go ahead and let us know that you're interested in sponsoring this amazing broadcast. And so where we left off was to the question of, what ways do you see it in your communities that you serve, either as a caring professional, or what ways have you supported others to be able to disrupt oppression, in ways that they're a caring professional. And so I wanted to add to the conversation before we close out that ways that I've seen it work well have been in different environments when exploring diversity and inclusion in organizations. But recently, one of our university community members who invited myself and another development trainer in to their race summit. And they were really experiencing some challenges. One person actually wrote the N-word on one of the students' door. And so it was very jolting, not only for that student, but also we're talking about environmental stressors. Everyone in the community was impacted because that's the nature of things. When one person is hurt in a community, we're interconnected. And so through healing arts and through embodied expression, and also through some professional development training around how do we hold space when those things come up as administrators, as educators, they were really able to, one, voice, like, this is how that hurt me, and two, find some solutions, some embodied solutions that weren't about reacting versus responding. And they created beautiful theater pieces that were based on finding solutions. And so they not only got to see the vision, but they also got to step into the vision. And so it was just really powerful to see both students and educators and dean of diversity, et cetera, really playing in a way that was fun, engaging, and lively with a subject that's very challenging, and doing it in such a way that didn't feel like, oh my gosh, we can't even go there. And so they really moved from pain to power. And so that's something that I've seen work really well from a clinical perspective and also as a healing artist. And so taking that in and drinking that in, first, I'm wondering, kind of tying it back to our open conversation, that's the way that, I do work with my organizational clients and my universities and high schools. I'm wondering what final points you would like to share as a team, as a collaborative team here today, to the conversation that is had, recognizing that we're, just at the surface, right? But we're really exploring. What is one final point you would like to share with our audience?
So for me, I would say, just to piggyback on that amazing work that you're doing and what you just described, I think just to really emphasize that love and justice, it doesn't always feel good, that we have to be able to tolerate a whole range of feelings and sometimes hold space for those feelings all at the same time. And it could be anger, it could be just like a feeling of aggression and being very escalated. It could be a feeling of sadness, and that we have to feel all those feels and take that as a message for what to do about it and how to kind of grow and change from there. So I would say that happens in the therapy room on a personal level, with therapists working with their clients or patients. And then it happens collectively in communities when we can kind of face these conversations. We can have these brave dialogues, and we can say there's room to kind of hold the complexity of the feelings. And that is very important to do that. So that's what I would say. That's a good summary and takeaway.
Yeah, I find that people are so reactive, and they respond hate with hate. They respond anger with anger. I was, when you have you're talking about your kitten earlier, Sacred. When I have a grandchild now, and when she's so upset, the most important thing to do is just hold her. And not react and cry like her, but to calm her down by me being centered, me being calm. And I think that's what we need to do with those who upset us. Just recently, I just read I think it was Berlin's, I'm not sure exactly, but there was swastikas painted on the walls, and instead of reacting and fighting against the oppressive symbol, artists came out and they created, paintings out of it, out of humor, to acknowledge that it's there, but not get angry about it and fight fire with fire. It's more about keeping centered, know your body, know how you react, take a moment to breathe, to focus, and have a discussion and not react. Because when you react, it becomes a visceral cycle of like reacting, and nothing gets done. When you're calm and you act and you respond or you ask questions, you actually get a chance to learn and understand how the other person feels and become more empathetic to them and understanding. And then we kind of realize we're all the same in the end. We all have the same stuff, but from a different background, but it's all the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and just to add to that, with a final point is I love what you're sharing around how do you move, and when something is really harmful, how do you respond to it? And I'm thinking about I'm doing deepening my training in physiology out of the University of Stanford, and one of the things that they were talking about was the sympathetic versus the parasympathetic nervous system. And so I would love to bring that into the conversation as a final point that, when you first have something that arises that stimulates or feels like it's threatening, or sometimes it's because someone looks different or moves different or walks different or smells different or appears different, that it might feel like a threat. That I think it's first important to address, is this really a threat? Like, is this person really threatening me? They were doing studies where they showed, images where they showed a rattlesnake and a rope. And in response to the same exact image, just hearing music in the background, every person thought it was a threat, or they thought it was something that was going to attack them. And so when we respond as if we're about to be attacked, then that person may have no intention of harming us, but we feel threatened, right? And so what does it mean when whole groups of people are labeled as threats? And so just remembering to move from that place of tuning into the sympathetic nervous system that's like, I'm afraid, my heart is racing, my head is having racing thoughts of things we can't control. And it takes it a step further to really be able to invite in that parasympathetic response of being able to slow the heart rate down, really bringing the mind back to remember in that moment, like, is this something that is threatening me? And so I think that that's what being intentional and creating spaces that promote diversity and inclusion does, is that's my final note, is just to take some time. And it does take extra effort to go from, this is how I'm feeling, this is what's wronged me. And I think that's important. That space is important. Like, I have been hurt. I know that my ancestors have been through so much. Chattel slavery said that you were not a human being. That's a whole other level of intense trauma that we are experiencing today. And we all were steeped into it. So experience it first, feel it, feel the anger, and then go to a place after you've acknowledged it into the parasympathetic, where you're like, okay, I can now have empathy, I can now connect. But if you miss that first moment, then that's going to turn into illness. And so that's where I would like to just share that physiologically we're built to acknowledge how we're feeling first and then respond to the other. And I just want to remind us all as caring professionals to do that, to just love on ourselves first and allow ourselves to be angry before we move forward. Yeah. And so, and that's not always easy. And so I'm wondering, with that in mind, that's why we're having these hard conversations that are, where we're supporting each other and respecting each other, because it is a challenge to be someone who's caring and saying, I want this to feel like an equal relationship, but you might get triggered yourself as a caring professional. What are ways that you can provide a couple of tools to those who are watching that says, okay, that's great. Susan, Kerrie, Sacred, that this all has been juicy and I'm on board, or I'm not so sure about that. What are some tangible tools
Mm-hmm.
In those moments where it's uncomfortable to disrupt depression, or it's really comfortable, but the other person receiving it may not, they may go into, I'm feeling threatened. What are some tools
Mm-hmm.
that you can provide for caring professionals?
So for me, I would say to start with just recognizing that you're a human being first, that you bring with you to your work, whatever, regardless of what level you're working on, your past, your own histories of trauma, of oppression, of joy and pain, and your whole life experience. And you didn't grow up in a vacuum, so don't be afraid to, to bring that into your work. Secondly, to piggyback on what both of you were talking about so eloquently, to really be in tune with your body and to recognize when you are really flooded or activated, and to know that that's not likely to be the place where you're going to be effective in whatever change that you're trying to make. But it is important to pay attention to what those messages are, to try to gauge like how real and present is this danger, that's here, and what do I need to do about it, and to get practice coping with that feeling and knowing that it might not be so bad that you feel that way, because it means you're inspired to do something about something you're upset about, and that's totally okay. And that leads me to the third step, which is to be able to take action and to be able to face that discomfort of how that feels to be unliked, or to ruffle feathers, or whatever it takes to speak what your truth is, because I do think that it doesn't come easy, this type of justice work, when you're fighting oppression, that it's not just about sending positive vibes and in love, and that is a passive thing. I think it is really active, and that to be active, it is more of a challenge with sitting with that conflict and that discomfort. So I would say the tools, accepting your own humanity and being vulnerable, kind of knowing what to do to kind of allow that parasympathetic nervous system to kind of kick into gear, so that you can be calm enough and standing in your truth and facing that injustice.
I have to also agree, just the body-mind connection. Thank you, Kerrie. Just the body-mind connection is so important, such a useful tool. When you're feeling tense, when you're feeling your body, your muscles contracting, when your heart is racing, acknowledge it. It's just like you say, your sympathetic nervous system putting you on a high alert. And once you acknowledge it, get into the daily practice of breathing and meditation. It's called a practice because you need to do it daily. The other thing is, I love journaling. I think journaling is a great space to express your opinion and get regurgitate everything without judgment, without editing. Just let it all go. Find patterns in how you write and what comes up over and over and over again. And those are the areas that need to be worked on. And I think that the third most important thing is self-love and self-care, and to not get so engaged in areas that could be toxic, to set boundaries, to start centering yourself and saying, you know what, I just can't constantly give all negative stuff. I need to, I draining of energy. I need to refuel my cup of tea. So we can help feed others, help others. So
yeah,
absolutely. And yes, jumping right on that you can't give from an empty cup. All pun included. For everyone watching, please cheers. Hello. And
cheers,
so,
cheers.
Yes, cheers. And so I really appreciate the both of you sharing ways that you can really have that mind-body connection and really tune in and not to give from an empty cup. And I would love to add 3 tips to this. And now you have 9 tips. Everyone who's watching, make note of all of these, okay? And you can always replay after this live broadcast to be able to catch them at a later time, because that's the sweetness of live broadcast. All right. And so one thing that I wanted to add to that you were sharing that I felt was so poignant was about like embodying it and making it a practice. I love that. And I definitely recommend one is that people incorporate meditation. And to add into that, I want to incorporate a suggestion around mindful role play, mindful theater, that you can wake up in the morning. And I do this with those that I work with individually, and as well that I work with in groups, that I find that if you can incorporate mindful role play, where before you go into that office, that someone might say something that feels like a dig, like, I'm a powerful woman moving in the world. Did you just question my intelligence? Hold on, that didn't feel quite right. I'm not threatening, what's going on here? And so something doesn't feel right. Waking up in the morning and looking in the mirror or working together hand in hand to say, all right, how do I move through this? so that I can practice and express how I'm really feeling in the moment and release that. And then so that I can step into that and know how to respond. And so that's what I would love to suggest. And I found that I have one client that literally wrote up on the wall, like, these are all the things that really upset me. And they were really able to tune into that one, and they found their voice as a result because they worked through it and gave themselves space to say, it's okay to be angry, and then I can be confident, you know? So I would recommend the mindful theater, and I'm happy to support with that. Two, I would definitely recommend creating safety plans. Caring professionals who come to you, you know, you have someone you're working with as an individual, or if you are a health provider, or if you are a social worker, take some time to acknowledge that this is a challenging time and people are responding as if it's every day is a threat. And so when that's real for them. And if it's real for you, it's real. So taking some time to create safety plans with those who come to you would be a second tip that I would offer. And then the third tip, and I'm looking over here because I didn't want to mistake the university that said this. Okay, so coming out of Duke University is looking at the ways illness impact the body. I highly recommend, third tip is that if you're feeling stomach ache, heavy head, heavy eyelids, you notice you get home and you just lay out and you feel completely exhausted at the end of the day, that you take a little bit more time to look at what's called compassion fatigue. It's like, to Susan's point, to Kerrie's point, how much are you giving out and how much are you providing back in? And if you have such a, you know, everyone's caseloads or panels are increasing, taking time to look at, if I have such a high load, then I can't manage. Maybe it's to, you know, talk to my supervisor about time management, or speaking to, you know, those that I'm coming in. Maybe you have a day where you don't meet with someone if you can financially afford that. So I would definitely recommend that, because studies coming out of Duke say specifically that when you're feeling that, then that is the body's warning that you're out of balance, out of homeostasis, and you want to bring balance back. Okay? So just remember those two things. Create a safety plan. All right? Take some time to acknowledge when you are feeling really, really, really overwhelmed, and also incorporating some mindful role plays. And so hopefully those resonated for the two of you as well, as powerful lady bosses in the world, and for all of those who are watching. And so I'm so grateful to hear your tips and to also be able to share my own. And I'm sure many other practitioners who are watching can please add underneath, what tips do you have in our wisdom democracy approach that have worked for you, or ways that you want to incorporate the tips that we've shared into your own life. And so, you know, in the spirit of that, providing a tip at the closing of our show is a powerful way for you to apply it, but sometimes getting some practice is really helpful, to Susan's point. We want to be able to incorporate these things on a regular basis. And so let's now share, what are ways that people can continue on with you? What are things that, you know, you've provided these tools, but now, because we have an accountability, a love medicine accountability partner, we have someone that can walk with us on this journey to incorporate the tools we've provided. So Susan, tell us, you know, tell us two ways that we can continue forward with you to practice the tools that you've given.
You can reach me, you can find me. This is my company, Mends Hearts. And you can find me on www.artmendshearts.com. You can email me at artmendshearts@gmail.com. I have Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, Mends Hearts. Sometimes it's all one word, sometimes it's separate words. But I would like to offer, I'd like to actually ask for two things, if I may, from your audience. Is one, first I want to just share that tomorrow is my birthday. So thank you. So as my gift, I would like to offer people a 30-minute phone conversation or a FaceTime conversation, and you can contact me at artmendshearts@gmail.com. The other thing I would like as my birthday wish is for somebody out there who's heard us, who made a shift today because of this, whether it's to reach out to somebody, whether it's to do something kind, something that's for you or for others, anything that's related to this. And if you've done one special thing to make a shift because of this, I would love for you to send me a tweet or send me Instagram picture or send me a Facebook post. I would love to see how we have impacted you and how we were able to shine a light on you and how you are paying it forward.
Cool.
Thank you.
So for me, there's a couple different ways you can work with me or with my practice. One, the name of my practice is called A Good Place Therapy, and you can find us at www.agoodplacetherapy.com. On the social, we're on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at _goodplace. And like I said, I have a group practice. There are 6 of us all together. We all offer 15-minute free consultations. We're in network with 2 of us are in network with one insurance company, Cigna. The rest are out of network or self-pay, but we do have a limited sliding scale and then also process claims directly, which can be helpful for people to use their insurance and not have to file their own claims. And all of our therapists are grounded in different theories of practice, but all are also using some methods of CBT similar to what was described here today, that is proactive and action oriented, and they're dynamic and really in the room with you. It also involves some follow-up between sessions because therapy is, even if you are working towards specific goals, it's a lot about the process, and the process happens outside of that 45-minute session in the room. So there might be mindfulness practices because, like Susan said, it is not something that is just a given, yet we actually have to work at doing that, is the exception. And there might be also journaling, journaling projects, or there might be a shift in perspective that you're asked to kind of practice throughout the week. So, or, being assertive in your relationships. So that's what you could expect in working with me or with any of my staff. The second thing is I'm, as I mentioned earlier, the New York City coordinator for Sidewalk Talk. You can find that on the web at www.sidewalktalk.org. It's a nonprofit. It's 100% volunteer led, and we just provide safe, compassionate space on the sidewalks and now around the globe, and now in New York City, to people who just want to be heard and who could really benefit from being listened to. And I would invite for people who are really upset and want to get involved and kind of do something that feels like they're really kind of manifesting what makes them upset, which is their compassion and love inside, in a really positive way. It's a really brilliant and beautiful way to do that. Just providing this, free listening and compassion in these like 10 to 15-minute dialogues on the street. So you can get in touch with me, at A Good Place, and I can walk you through the steps if you're interested in being a part of that. There are chapters in a lot of different cities, and like as I mentioned, other places even in the world. I don't think we have any in Nigeria yet, but if you're a healer and you're tuning in, then we would love to have Nigeria represented. Or any other country that is tuning in here. So please just get in touch with me. My email is Kerrie, is Kerrie, at agoodplacetherapy.com.
Perfect. And then for those who might have missed any of those, it is going to be something where you will be able to either look up Susan Greif, Greif, or look up Kerrie. Is it Mohr, your last name, Kerrie?
Yep, and I'm in transition, so I'm listed as Kerrie Thompson Mohr or just Kerrie Mohr, Mohr.
Okay, perfect. So then you can always look up, or you can look up Sacred Walker, and you can find out some more information about that. And then ways to stay in touch with me would be through Kuumba Health. We have an open house coming up for, it's called Stress Management for Caring Professionals. It's going to be based out of Mount Sinai on October 21st. And so that's coming up from 11 to 1 o'clock. So do check that out. We're going to be incorporating mindfulness and healing arts and play, and really looking at ways that you can manage your stress, so that if you are feeling like you've lost that connection to why it is that you came to this work in the first place, or if you are finding that you are excited and alive, but those around you are really feeling bogged down, come, bring a colleague, bring a friend. The open house is specifically for those who are interested in joining the Visionary Leadership series, the 3-week wellness and leadership focused on supporting visionary leaders. All right, so that you can stay in tune with that vision that came to you and called you to this work, and so you can reduce your stress and really rise. All right, so that's October 21st. Check out Kuumba Health's website for that, and you can apply on the page. And then I also do offer national telehealth. So whether you are anywhere in the country, I have folks based out of California, based out of North Carolina. You can be local, you can be rural, you can be city. It really doesn't matter. But the gift of it is that it's specifically, for those who are really busy, you can literally open up your computer and you're right there able to connect. And so we're able to really do some work, especially if you have stressors and blocks around vitality, you want to build communication, you're noticing challenges around your sexuality or some memories that are coming up that are really impacting your growth. Really looking at that. I've had people really, create some pain to power shifts. And then I'm able to do that through telehealth and in person. And actually now, as of yesterday, have a Newark office that I'm co-partnering with here that specializes in women's empowerment. And so do stay tuned for trainings and retreats to come. All right, but October 21st, see you in person or see you on telehealth, and I also offer 15-minute consultations for those. All right, so if you have any questions at all, like Susan said, reach out, tell us how this has touched your life. Reach out at Sacred, at Ask Sacred on Instagram. Reach out to any of us and tag all of us and say, hey, listen, this has touched my life. I'm a caring professional. I needed that. All right, because we want all of us to women rise, people rise, human rise together. All right, so we're at the end of our broadcast. Go ahead.
Can we have a hashtag? Can we put together a hashtag for this for people to respond also? Besides,
you know what? That's a great suggestion, and we will be following up with that. Our hashtag is Love Medicine TV. So if you hashtag LOVEMEDICINETV, then you can spread the word, and that can be the hashtag. That has been historically the hashtag. So thank you so much. This is Wisdom Democracy for reminding hashtag Love Medicine TV, and so that we can make sure to stay connected. All right, so final card. So this is our Love Medicine deck care of Louise Hayes, who's an amazing publicist and amazing affirmation card creator, etc. And so I'm going to ask, for the sake of time, that we pull one card. Maybe Susan, if you can pull one card for our community, and Kerrie, if you can pull one card for those who we've invited and who have come across this broadcast to infuse love medicine into their day. All right, so just here's the deck, and there are purple, red. You have a color, pinks,
purples. I'm a purple girl.
Purple girl. Okay, hold on. Let me see the
purple. Fuchsia purple. Yeah. Ooh.
Okay, so for our collective love medicine today, it says, I choose happiness. Memo to self. Remember to enjoy the miracle of existence today. I choose happiness. Memo to self. Remember to enjoy the miracle of existence today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Kerrie, what color would you like for our viewers?
Let's go with this one right here.
Ooh,
There's
okay.
little green dots, it looks like, on it.
Oh, this one or that one?
Can you see?
Yeah,
that one is fine.
This one?
Is that blue? That's fine.
I think this one is green here. Wait, let's see. Oh, this is green.
Go with that one.
All right. So this one for our Love Medicine Institute TV audience viewers, it says, I trust my inner ding. You are born with an inner knowing, what Louise calls your inner ding. Listen to it and let it guide your actions. I trust my inner ding. You were born with an inner ding, what Louise calls your inner ding. You were born with an inner knowing, what Luis calls your inner ding. Listen to it and let it guide your actions. All
That's
right.
beautiful. That's aligned with
Mhm.
everything we're talking about today.
Yep. Yep.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, as caring professionals, as you are moving in the world, honoring yourselves and disrupting oppression, may you, continue to honor your inner ding. Thank you so much, Susan and
Thank you so
Kerrie,
much.
for your
Thank you,
gift.
Kerrie.
Having us.
Yes, thank you so much, and do stay tuned. And we look forward to continuing to supporting one another to rise. Stay tuned for more to come from Love Medicine Institute TV, as we are hosting this as a panel series, and continue just to come and be, live, and learn Love Medicine TV. Mwah.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.